the Q3 data is in, app retention is flatlining, and we just spent $400,000 on a UI refresh nobody asked for.
Because nobody wants your icon. We're lighting money on fire while our customers are already living in WhatsApp threads.
The board views the app as our proprietary moat. They aren't accounting for the 30 times higher acquisition costs per user.
It's not a moat. It's a tomb. Kill the app today, or the CFO will kill your entire department by Monday.
So welcome to another deep dive. And that argument you just heard, that is not a theoretical exercise.
No, not at all. It is a live, ongoing fight happening in war rooms right now.
Exactly. I mean, the operational reality we are confronting today is pretty stark. The era of the standalone mobile app is functionally over.
It's completely over.
Yeah, and we are watching organizations literally bleed capital trying to fight customer convenience. And it is a losing battle. The immediate shift has to be toward a WhatsApp-first CRM operating system.
Look, it is the only viable path forward for modern customer engagement. I mean, corporate survival right now depends entirely on abandoning that legacy get our app strategy.
Right.
It's an operational blind spot that has plagued mobile strategy for, over a decade. We are sitting in 2026, and app fatigue isn't just a buzzword anymore. It is a measurable structural peak.
Yeah, you're asking a consumer to go to an app store, wait for a package to download, navigate the OS permission pop-ups, and then learn a completely bespoke interface.
Which is unpaid labor.
Exactly.
Your customers are categorically refusing to do it.
So let's break down the actual operational math behind that refusal, because the friction isn't just annoying, it is financially ruinous.
Oh, absolutely ruinous.
I was looking at the research on what we're calling the app install tax. Currently, the average cost to acquire a B2C app install is sitting around $6.50. And that is just to get the icon on the screen. That's not even accounting for day one churn. Contrast that with a WhatsApp thread entry, which costs somewhere between 15 and 40 cents.
Yeah, so you're looking at a 30 times higher acquisition cost just to force software onto a home screen.
30 times.
But the core issue is how executives actually interpret that math. They are still categorizing that $6.50 as a standard customer acquisition cost.
It's a CAC, yeah.
Right, but it is not a CAC. It is a penalty. You are paying a premium to force an unnatural behavior onto a consumer.
Right, because when a customer sees an ad for a service, they want the service immediately.
Exactly. A click-to-WhatsApp ad drops them directly into a conversation where they can start resolving their intent in 3 seconds.
Whereas an app download campaign inserts a 5-minute obstacle course between the impulse and the resolution.
And they just abandon it every time.
So it requires a total paradigm shift from the product teams. I was trying to map this out visually earlier. Building a custom native app today feels exactly like building a massive bespoke flagship store out in the middle of a barren desert.
Well, that's a great way to look at it.
Right. You own the land, you control the lighting, you pick the music. It's this beautiful sandbox. But nobody is driving an hour into the desert to visit it.
No one.
Meanwhile, WhatsApp is the central train terminal. It is where your customers are already commuting 20, 30 times a day.
Yeah.
Why are product teams spending millions trying to build a new highway to a desert when they could just set up a frictionless kiosk inside the terminal?
That is the exact question every CFO should be asking their VP of product right now.
No.
I mean, I want practitioners listening to go pull their own budget data today.
Pull the numbers.
Look at the millions allocated to user acquisition and try to justify spending $6.50 for an icon that is actively ignored. You cannot defend that to a board that understands unit economics.
You really can't.
Capital is just being burned to feed an outdated ego metric, which is the illusion of platform ownership.
Well, let's pull this out of the budget review and bring it into the actual product planning trenches, right? Because the biggest fight right now is over device real estate and the attention deficit.
Right, the real estate war.
The retention data from the research is completely damning for traditional apps. We are seeing over 70% of mobile app push notifications completely ignored. It's just swiped away into the void.
We have to unpack what that 70% failure rate actually looks like in practice, though.
Yeah, walk me through it.
It is a user holding their phone, feeling a vibration, and seeing a generic logo asking them to check out our new fall collection or update their preferences.
Right.
They are swiping that away while their thumb is already in motion to open a text from their partner or their boss.
Yeah.
We are operating in an ecosystem of absolute notification noise.
Right, because a standard push notification is deeply transactional. It feels like an interruption.
Yes, exactly.
But a WhatsApp thread sits natively alongside their most intimate communications. It is inherently prioritized by the user's own psychology.
But listen, that psychological priority comes with immense risk. WhatsApp boasts a 98% open rate within the first hour.
98%? That's insane.
It's basically the only clean channel left on a mobile device.
Hmm.
You are moving from the promotions tab of their brain into their actual daily life.
Wow, yeah.
If you spam that channel, the user doesn't just swipe away, they block the business account. And getting blocked on WhatsApp is far more damaging than getting an app uninstalled.
Because you lose that direct pipeline completely.
Exactly. So the debate in the war room shouldn't be about optimizing a push notification subject line. It needs to be about recognizing that a pinned WhatsApp chat is infinitely more valuable real estate, provided you treat the channel with operational respect.
Okay, I hear the argument on engagement and the unit economics. It makes sense. But let's bring in the inevitable pushback from the product engineering lead.
Let's hear it.
Because if I walk into a sprint planning meeting tomorrow and tell them to abandon the app, they're going to laugh me out of the room.
Sure they are.
They'll say, how do we securely process a payment? How do we handle complex logic? By moving to a third-party messaging platform, we surrender our entire secure sandbox.
See, that argument relies entirely on legacy architecture thinking. The product engineering lead is still thinking about building service apps.
Okay.
The shift is toward deploying service agents.
Yeah.
And Agentic OS doesn't require you to build an interface. It requires you to map to the one that already exists.
Right.
By living inside WhatsApp, you aren't sacrificing security or functionality. You are effortlessly piggybacking on billions of dollars of infrastructure that Meta has already built.
Wait, walk me through the actual mechanics of that. If a customer needs to authorize a high-value transaction, or if we need to track a delivery location, how does that happen without our own native code executing on the device?
Through native OS routing. When you build a service agent within the WhatsApp API, you instantly leverage the device's native features without writing a single line of Swift or Kotlin.
Really?
Yeah. You want to process a secure payment, you trigger a payload in the chat, and WhatsApp hands the authentication off to the device's native Face ID or fingerprint scanner.
Oh, wow.
The biometric data never hits your servers. You just receive the cryptographic token confirming the transaction.
So we don't have to touch the liability of it.
Exactly. Need logistics tracking, you request a live location share, utilizing the OS-level GPS permissions the user has already granted to WhatsApp.
So we are completely bypassing the friction of getting the user to trust our specific app with their camera, their location, and their wallet. We just inherit the trust they've already placed in their primary messaging platform.
Right. You eliminate the login screen entirely. You eradicate the need to force users to download security patches or software updates.
Yeah, nobody wants to do that.
There is zero learning curve because the interface is simply natural language and native operating system mechanics. Product teams need to realize that their proprietary code is no longer the moat. The frictionless experience is the moat.
Which fundamentally breaks the old model where the app was the product.
Yes.
The service itself is the product, and the interface is just whatever requires the lowest cognitive load for the user.
Exactly.
Okay, so the front-end interface problem is solved by the Agentic OS. But let's shift to the back end, because this is where the real operational heavy lifting happens.
Oh yeah, the back end is where the war is won.
Right. What happens to the CRM? Because the legacy setups, your standard Salesforce architectures, HubSpot instances, they were built for the desktop age.
Yep.
They are essentially just static relational databases waiting for a human rep to manually type in a summary of an interaction.
And in a mobile-first world, a static database is a dead database.
Completely dead.
The CRM architecture has to follow the customer directly into their messaging app. This brings up the most critical governance question for any data architect right now.
Which is?
What actually constitutes a customer record in 2026? The new operational standard is that the thread is the record. The live conversation thread itself is the single source of truth for the enterprise.
I need to wrap my head around the ingestion process for that, because we aren't talking about a customer service rep finishing a chat and then tabbing over to Salesforce to log a ticket and update a status field.
Absolutely not. Manual data entry is a point of failure.
Right.
We are talking about high-fidelity, real-time syncs between the WhatsApp Cloud API and the Salesforce Data Cloud. Every interaction is mapped, but more importantly, it is an automated AI ingestion layer.
Okay, let me stop you there, because anyone who has looked at a real customer chat log knows it is a complete disaster.
It's very messy, yes.
It is filled with typos, slang, broken sentences, emojis. How does an AI layer reliably turn a thumbs-up emoji into a logged Salesforce interaction without completely hallucinating the data?
It comes down to intent and entity extraction at the middleware layer.
Okay.
The customer types, flight delayed, need to swap to the 8 a.m. tomorrow. The AI model doesn't just read the text, it parses the unstructured data.
It understands the context.
Right. It identifies the intent, which is flight book. It extracts the entity, which is time,
Right.
0800 next day. It cross-references the phone number with the Salesforce record, pulls the active itinerary, executes the change via your backend APIs, pushes the confirmation back into the WhatsApp thread, and simultaneously writes the structured data fields back into Salesforce.
So the CRM is always live. It just becomes a living ledger of the relationship.
Yes, you do not force the customer to structure their data for you.
Right.
You don't make them navigate a drop-down menu on a web portal just to keep your legacy database looking tidy. You let them speak naturally, and you use the intelligence layer to structure the data on the back end.
Okay, the theory is solid, the mechanics make total sense, and the unit economics are undeniable.
They are.
But we need a concrete battle plan. If I'm sitting with the executive team tomorrow morning, how do we actually unstick the gears and execute this transition without breaking the company? We need a practical sequence of events.
We can lay this out in a very specific 5-step operational playbook.
Lay it out.
Step 1. You halt the tax. First thing tomorrow, you freeze all budget allocated to B2C app install campaigns.
Okay.
You stop lighting that $6.50 on fire. You require marketing to justify every single dollar spent trying to force a download.
Wait, just zero out the budget immediately? That is going to cause an absolute panic in the growth marketing department.
Let them panic.
Really?
Yes. Growth metrics built on forced friction are vanity metrics. Which leads to step 2.
Yeah.
You pivot the funnel.
Okay.
You take that exact same acquisition budget and you reroute it entirely to WhatsApp thread entry points. You deploy click-to-WhatsApp ads across Meta's ecosystem. You put QR codes on physical packaging. You use deep links in your email campaigns.
Right.
Drive the traffic to the central station, not the desert flagship.
Okay, step 3 is where we hit the product roadmap. I've got 40 engineers scheduled for a massive Q4 app overhaul.
You deploy agents over UI.
Cancel the overall.
Cancel the custom app UI refreshes. If you have an initiative to redesign your standalone navigation menu, kill it today.
Wow.
Reallocate those 40 engineering resources to building service agents that operate natively within those pinned WhatsApp chats. Have them focus on natural language routing and API integrations instead of pixel-pushing front-end buttons.
Which flows right into step 4. We leverage native and start building redundant tech.
Correct. Strip out your proprietary app security architecture. Stop trying to maintain your own mapping and logistics visualizers inside your app wrapper.
Right, because WhatsApp already does that.
Rely entirely on WhatsApp's native biometric security and location services. Let Meta handle the multi-billion-dollar infrastructure and OS compliance. Your engineering team needs to focus strictly on your core service logic.
Okay, and step 5 brings us back to the data layer. We bridge the last mile by mandating that high-fidelity sync between the WhatsApp Cloud API and the Salesforce Data Cloud.
Exactly.
But I'm going to challenge you heavily on this point.
Go for it.
From a data governance standpoint, this sounds like a compliance nightmare. You are proposing that an enterprise treats highly unstructured, chaotic chat threads as the official CRM record. Data purists and compliance officers are going to absolutely riot over this.
I will take that argument in any boardroom.
You think you can win that?
Easily. A messy, unstructured live record that accurately reflects real-time customer intent is infinitely more valuable than a clean, perfectly structured, dead desktop database that hasn't been updated since the customer last logged into a web portal 3 months ago.
That's a strong point.
Clean data in a legacy CRM is often fictional data.
Right, it's just reps checking boxes to hit quotas.
Exactly. Or customers abandoning complex forms halfway through. Real-time chat ingestion gives you reality. You deploy the models, handle the mess. You prioritize reality over reporting aesthetics.
That is a stark pivot. I mean, it requires abandoning a lot of deep-seated assumptions about what enterprise software is supposed to look like.
It really does.
Which brings us to a highly controversial takeaway from the research, something that is going to make a lot of platform owners deeply uncomfortable today.
The uncomfortable truth is that your custom mobile app is not a proprietary mode.
Not at all.
It is a massive liability, It is technical debt wrapped in a marketing budget.
Right.
It requires constant maintenance, zero-day security patching, OS compliance updates across multiple platforms, and relentless user acquisition spending, all to prop up a platform that users actively resist engaging with.
So synthesizing the reality of this entire discussion,
Yeah.
your customers have absolutely zero loyalty to your app. None.
None whatsoever.
Their only loyalty is to their own convenience and their own time. If you aren't already sitting natively in their active chat list, right alongside the text threads with their family, you effectively do not exist in their digital world. You are invisible.
And the longer a leadership team pretends their proprietary icon is valuable, the faster competitors who understand agentic workflows are going to capture that user intent and just eat your market share.
All right, we need to leave you, the listener, with 3 concrete next actions to take back to your teams tomorrow morning.
Let's do it.
Action 1. Audit the immediate cost difference between your current standalone app install spend and a WhatsApp entry funnel. Get the real CAC numbers side by side in front of your CFO before the end of the week.
Crucial.
Action 2. Evaluate your current Salesforce or CRM stack specifically for mobile readiness and live API sync capabilities. If your backend architecture cannot ingest and parse real-time unstructured chat data, you have an infrastructure crisis that needs to be escalated immediately. Action 3. Freeze the next scheduled app update sprint. Force your product team to write a formal justification for why that new feature requires a native app environment and why it cannot be deployed as a WhatsApp service agent.
And to tie this entire operational shift together, I want to leave practitioners with one final diagnostic question.
Okay.
It is a brutal but necessary test of your current strategy. If your company's mobile app magically disappeared from the internet tomorrow, would your customers even notice? Or would they just be intensely relieved that they don't have to remember another password?
That is a tough question to answer, and that is the deep dive for today. Now, to navigate operational platform pivots exactly like the one we just mapped out, you need to subscribe to the CRM Position podcast.
Highly recommend it.
This is your essential resource to stay ahead of real CRM and AI platform shifts. CRM Position is where you go to hear complex, critical operational topics broken down without the hype. We deliver the real state-of-the-art, totally free of marketing narratives and vendor fluff. Subscribe now, align your stack with reality, and we'll see you in the next deep dive.